How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is SCC, and tonight we're looking at the round 13 review. And as you can see, wasn't a great one for the Curtin Cool SCC team, but nevertheless, we'll move on and see what we can do from here. So, I was actually away over the weekend, so I didn't really get to see a huge amount of the games. Was out remote enough that there wasn't very good mobile service. And was able to kind of get in every now and then and quickly check scores. And I kind of thought I wasn't doing too bad, but that all fell away in the last day when, you know, you hit the captain with Nick Dacos and he sadly puts up a bad score. I was just a bit too slow to be able to get there and see the news that he might be looking at a tag, because I probably would have just rolled the dice and gone from there. But these things happen, you know. There's every chance he could have, as we've seen many other weeks before, gone on to score well, even though there was a tag. But it's left us in a pretty average position. We've seen ourselves lose 2,900 ranks, nearly back out the top 10,000, which is really annoying because we worked really hard to get back into the top 10 and up to the top 6, even within the top 5 nearly. So we're going to have a lot of work to do to get back, but I still think we can do it. We've got the trades in hand. I think that the trades were actually, I feel like they were good, although they could have been a lot better. I did have a few other things I was going to try, but I think in the end that might have been a net, not negative, but like net equal, come out to a net zero is what I'm trying to say. Because even though, you know, I missed out on points elsewhere, by not doing the trades I could have done, which I did think about, I still think this sets us up well for the rest of the season. So we still got enough money. The plans with trades are still going forward. We're still going to see enough players this week, which is great. And we'll jump right into this now. So one of those weeks where you kind of just see the writing on the wall. When Dacos got tagged and, you know, he then got injured, it's just kind of like, look away. I decided not to do it last night because it was like, bugger it, what's the point? But we're here now anyway. So let's have a look at this. So this is must be how it was set up. So looking at the team, as you can see, I think this was probably a round that was one of our weaker ones because we had quite a few, you know, Fremantle and Port Adelaide players, 4 of them. Especially in our defence, we were probably a little bit short compared to others. And sadly, a few injuries have occurred, which has made trade-ins not really work in our favour either. But we did make some trades to ensure we have money this week, because the rookie downgrade options this week are pretty average, and I wanted to kind of get ahead of it. And that's why I brought in Dawson for Rogers last week, because I wanted to have enough money so that I could trade Moyle to Grundy, which I can do. Sadly, Grundy did reach his break even, which is annoying. So we're paying a little bit more than we could have. But at the same time, Moyle beat his as well. So we got a little bit extra money there. But really, now I think we've got a pretty clear strategy to finish the team. We only need 2 more players. And it's going to happen pretty easily because we can trade to Moyle, which leaves us, you know, we're probably going to do 3 trades to get that last player in. Because the money is a little bit bare unless I were to trade McKercher. But I think it's worth it. Well, I mean, I could look at doing it, but I'd rather just keep McKercher as like a floating M9 D7 because I think he's going to be pretty handy to have. I just need to work out how I can do this with the rest of the team, because it's going to, I think, mean trading a Reed to make it work, because we're going to have Dawson as well. So need to work out how I can do that and make this team really work. And I'll probably maybe look at potentially getting some extra premiums as well, because the way it's looking, we'll probably have 5 trades left. It could be 4 if we decide to maybe buy flip like a Touk, because he's starting to hit a wall as a Gold Coast a little bit, and I was pretty surprised that he scored as badly as he did against St Kilda, because it felt like a game where, you know, St Kilda's midfield aren't really anything, but we still saw Touk only get 58. I might have a quick look at, like, as I said, I really didn't look at any scores, didn't really get to see any stats or any gameplay this week. So it'll be interesting to see what Touk's disposals and stuff look like, and if there's any other info there as to what happened. But yeah, this is how the team was. It would have been nice to get like on a Sheasel or something, but I just couldn't do it. I wanted to get I felt like if I get the VC Bond, it would have been hopefully good enough that I could just go for the loophole there. Sadly, he didn't go very well, and I got punished with a day cost 64. Luckily enough, you know, it was 30% or so of the comp were on that, but it could have been a lot better. Like, you know, Flanders 152. Guy's not stopping. He's been incredible, and he's really closing in on Heaney for the top forward for the year, and doesn't look like he'll be looking back from that. Gawn had another good game, you know, really dominant against a pretty much, you know, one ruck Collingwood, because no Mason Cox, which made it a little bit easier for him. He does play really well on the MCG, so we got to remember that when we're looking at VC captain options going forward. Looking at Melbourne, they've got how many more games? I can't believe the break even is still 170 after a 130. They have 6 games left on the MCG, and they get North next, so that's going to look like a decent VC probably, although Jerry's quite a good ruck as well. But yeah, didn't really get to see much of Bond. I really expected him to do a bit better at Marvel. I think he had like 3 or 4 goals as well, so that's a bit frustrating to see. Dawson played, so that was the Thursday game, which I actually got to watch, so he played well enough to put up a decent score. So I thought we were in like all right standing after that first game, with Baker 103, Dawson 117. But guys like Fisher and Sexton continue to put up good scores, which are really hurting us. Hopefully Powell's back this week, which will curtail extra bit. Sorry, a bit tired. A bit of a late one here. Apologise for that. And hopefully McCurch is back as well, which could hopefully curtail Fisher a bit. But they've already done the damage. They made enough money. So if people want to move them on, if they want to flip them for players, they can. Which is a bit frustrating, but we're just going to have to deal with that. I have a feeling that Tom Green's score was quite affected here by that late free kick. So got to let him off with that 79. I feel like it must have been like closer to 100, and then that happened and really burnt him. But he's really turned into a player that wasn't really worth holding, and maybe I should have flipped him at the time I was thinking about doing it. But at the same time, you know, Miller's not much better, and we got a few problems that we need to address. So let's look at what the team looks like right now regarding players this week off the bye. So we can bring in Houston, Sarong can go on, Garcia. We'll put McCurcher in, although he's TBC, so we don't actually know if he's going to get a game. I doubt Garcia's going to get a game. I looked at his stats. I think he had 16 disposals in the VFL and about 8 tackles. You know, the previous weeks he was doing that plus 13 tackles, so it doesn't look likely he'll get a game. And then I read the news today. Rankin is looking like a test for Thursday or their next game on Saturday. So there is a possibility he could get a game here, which would be nice. Interestingly, they have a back-to-back at the Adelaide Oval, which is interesting. I don't think we've had that for a while, but I guess there must be a flip coming somewhere. So yeah, Rankin could possibly be back in, which would be great, and give us a bit of a leg up, because a lot of teams won't be looking to bring him in. So I'm hoping he gets a game, because his break even's nice and low, and I want people to pay up for him if they want him. because it's been a decent pick other than this past two to 3 weeks where I've had to sit here and hold him. I'm happy it did. It saved me a trade. Probably lost me points, but it did save me a trade, which could become pretty valuable because there's been a few more players dropping with injury. The likes of Petrarca and stuff like that, which are going to affect a few teams. So it is helpful to have. Like if we look at this now, most traded, not in my team. He's actually not even in here, which is very interesting. That's because I don't have him. Sorry, but Touk is there, 2.5%, and I'm kind of feeling like that because of the player we will discuss who I'm thinking. So, the plan we set up from last week worked really well. We obviously did our 2 trades, which brought in, I'm going to have to look at history here. So, our 2 trades, which were Closey and Wilson. Wilson went like 25 and Closey went like 40. So this was great. We got Moore and Baker. And then we cashed in Rogers, even though he was obviously nowhere near what we needed. We cashed him in because there's no rookies this week, like none that you really want to trade down to. It is really bare. You have to go early. And I was happy to go on Dawson with the fact that he was getting a game and it's going to break the bubble. Now, Dawson did get injured, but there was a secondary reason for getting him. He's got that defender forward DPP, which makes it pretty valuable and allows me to move around the team structure a bit. So even though he's injured, it's not all doom and gloom with that trade because it is going to allow me to move around the team if required for future injuries. So 326k left. Let us trade Moyle. So it's time to flip him. His cash isn't all gone, but I'm really thinking this is what I'm going to have to do. And we look at the averages. There's no one near Maxi Gawn, but the next guy who's closest is Brodie Grundy. We obviously had him at the start, and it is a bit weird to be trading him in now, but he's got a good run coming up. Let's have a look at Sydney quickly. I believe he obviously had last week's game, which was really good. He's got Adelaide next week, who are down on form, and he's had decent history even when playing for, round 22 at the SCG? Why was that there in 2022? Why would Collingwood play Adelaide or Melbourne play Adelaide there? That's pretty interesting. Oh, no, sorry. This is Heaney. That's why. Let's have a look at Grundy first. They've got a good run of rucks. Sorry, this was a bit of a bloody sideways thing, but got a pretty good run coming up. Even when, he wasn't the great, in the greatest team for what he needed to be, he still scored quite well. GWS after that, which should be a good matchup. Fremantle is probably a bit hard, but then, St Kilda, Ron Marshall lets big scores go. North is quite good. Brisbane could be hard. But then again, Omax let 200 be scored on him before. English has shown that he will let big scores. Then he's got Port Adelaide, Collingwood. It's a really nice fixture coming up. And, I'd probably rather pay a little bit more for Grundy over as Jerry. I still like Timmy English, but I just don't know what's going on. Like, why is he... we haven't seen scores like this from him for a while. He's lost 157k, which means he was worth more than 700 at the start of the season, which feels pretty crazy to pay for. And look at these scores. He's had some big scores. The Bulldogs have actually a decent run as well. Next week, not so great, but after the bye, Northport. Carlton with De Koning, who's actually a very interesting prospect for next year. Feel like he'll be one that we'll be thinking about with his past, 133 round average, better than even Gawn at the moment. And making big money, which is a bit annoying because we'd like to see him lower for next year, but maybe that will drop off come the end. But looking at this, there's not much else to pick from unless we're going to go like an Omac who's been playing pretty well by the sounds, and Nankervis, but he seems to always have injury risk, although they all seem to have Fremantle coming up. But this Richmond run's not too bad. But saying all this, I think I'm just going to stick with Grundy and we can complete that trade. It's always good picking players who are in winning sides as well, because it generally means the points fall their way a little bit. We could go Jackson, just as that like more of an F7 like R3 role where we can move in between if we need coverage for both. And if it did mean I could get something better for Touk, maybe, but there is like quite good players on the table that I could trade Touk for. So I think 519 is actually quite expensive to pay for a 101 player when I can get one that's averaging 10 points more. So I think we're going to stick with Grundy, complete that trade. And that leaves us with, 8 trades left, and it leaves us with only really one spot to fill, which is in the midfield. So, which should be pretty easy. We should be able to do like McAuliffe, Revel, and Fraser, because McAuliffe and Fraser are going to have to go anyway, being on their bye, and then pump into Revel as well to get that extra upgrade. Or the final upgrade, and then that will leave us with 5 trades, which should be plenty for the rest of the year, I feel. Even if we look for some extra premiums, so we could flip someone. Because I am a little bit worried about Dawson with his injury, and I think I just got to back him in. Maybe I want to upgrade like a Wangini Miller, but he's got a really nice run, I feel, and I feel like a lot are going to stay off him. If we look at his where is his ownership? His ownership's 17%, so he is pretty popular, but I don't mind going that. And yeah, there's a few options. So I don't know. Touk has been very frustrating the past couple weeks. Gone with the 58. This 108 was actually very lucky. If anyone saw the game, he was on like 60 until he got a late goal, which was from half a tackle, which he really didn't lay. So I was thinking he'd been quite consistent and we were getting quite good scores here. I mean, Real and Anderson haven't been hugely better. Consistently hugely better. They've been better the past couple of weeks, but I still felt like Touk's been a little bit unlucky with the way he's been scored on things. Let's go to fan footy. Sorry. Don't need to look at that. So what happened in this game? I didn't get to see any, as I said, but we had two players for bloody Gold Coast go over 150. One with 23 disposals, 100% efficiency definitely helps. 163 dream team for Sam Flanders is incredible. 42 disposals, 13 marks. Ridiculous. And Bodie Uland was only 140k at the start of the year, which is pretty unreal. Sexton probably a bit unlucky by the looks with his Supercoach 2 dream team stats, but we'll take that. Obviously, Real was a bit bad. Anderson hasn't actually been too bad, but this looks like it was a game for the defenders with Jeffrey, Collins, Flanders, and Uland all scoring really well, which isn't necessarily unsurprising. Sinclair went really well for St Kilda. That's interesting as well. Nothing, Wangini Malira is still the best of the defenders here, isn't he? Out of Hill and where is he? Did they drop Paddy Dow, Windhager? Harwood was out. Wilson played horribly. Glad we got rid of him. Just lost so much money. Bonner. So Bonner had a bad game as well. So yeah, this would have been an interesting game to watch by the looks. It's probably looks like it's a little bit lucky, but he got 28 disposals. It's the efficiency that hurt Wangini Miller, which is a little bit frustrating. But yeah, Touk. Oh, I didn't even look at Touk. Sorry, got a bit off track there. I think it was the crazy scoring. So what happened with Touk? So Touk, he only had 14 disposals, one mark and two tackles is very frustrating. Even the one goal actually probably saved him a little bit. Eight of his disposals. So 14, 8 of those was contested with 4 clearances, 5 clangers, and 64% was not helpful. So what happened here? Playing central midfield, he got tagged by Windhager. Why are they tagging Touk? Why aren't they tagging Rao? Fucking do not understand that. Head to head. So they let Rao go head to head with Steele. And yes, they won. So like I can't say too much, but I don't know if Touk's their most damaging player. Like Rao and Anderson are pretty good, but they just let Dow go off against Anderson and they decided to tag Touk. I know that's a frustrating one. I'd like to just flip this on the buy because I'm really liking the look of Errol Goulden. And I like that he's probably not the number 1 midfielder because it means that he doesn't get the hugest attention. I like that he gets so much tog. I like that he's a bit younger. And I like that this gives him me a bit more opportunity to score from the midfield. So this is what we're going to go with for now. And this score could be even better if we get McKercher, I think. Yeah, obviously this is an extra trade. I'm losing money on this. There's a lot of things here. And the problem could be that the money doesn't work out. So if we go 26,300 plus, is what we need to do is we need to figure out what McAuliffe. So McAuliffe got the sub, which is bloody painful. He has to get a break even of 50. He's probably going to get the sub again. So McAuliffe, say we get, what, 240 out of? Oh, he's 255. Let's say we get 255 out of him. I feel like that's best case. Let's say Revel, we get like 245 plus 24 is 270. Let's say we get 270 out of him. Every chance he goes a lot better. And for Fraser, 254 plus 15 off of 64. Let's say this is about 265,000. Take 123,900. Take 123,900. Would leave us with 568,500. So not the best cash for our next upgrade. But I guess there is the opportunity that I get someone who's cheaper. So let's have a look at quickly what we're going to do with the rookies next week. So cash cows. And let's filter this down to 200k. So what do we got here? So Toby Mullen did quite well. He would have been nice to probably how he went 50. At least he's not injured, so that's something for people who picked him up. Vizentini. Cooper Simpson. Will he get another game? Hasn't really scored that well though. 17 and 57. He must have played sub. What do we got here? So we got... We don't need this as yet, but if we go 3 matches. So we got Kruger as a right forward. That's actually quite interesting, actually. Potential to go Kruger, isn't there? Not next week, but the week after when we could trade him in for well, actually he'll be on the bubble in round 16, so we could just wait till then, but I kind of would like to just maybe get him in. It's going to depend on how many players I have next week, to be honest, whether we can go Kruger next week, because there's also Dowling who actually seems quite well. But yeah, I mean the rookies are pretty bad. Like Cully's 193. Hutchinson had a 40, so I guess that's one to keep an eye on. But would I be picking him if he gets a game? Maybe. There is no rookies. Jesus Christ. This is all that played. God, we got like no one. If I do Kruger, Jesus, this is very bad. I didn't realize it was this bad. 102, 400. Then we'd have 590, which could get us something quite decent. We need some of these mid-season draftees to get a game. Or I need like McCurtain's too expensive, so is Cleary. Connor Stone, if Connor Stone got a game, but he's still pretty expensive. Really isn't much here. Simpson. Manor. Jesus, if you pick Manor at the start of the season, you'd be pretty flat. And that young West Coast bloke I was looking at go. Bet you he went well. Let's go West Coast Eagles. Can't remember his name. It'd be interesting. Harry Edwards, yeah, he had a see. This is what he's like. I was looking at Harry Edwards because he 83 and 71, but these were like so inflated. It was just didn't like he wasn't getting huge disposal numbers, and he got these scores. And then yeah, obviously that week he had a worse accuracy game, which hurt him. But yeah, we got no rookies, so I don't know what we're supposed to do. Makes me think maybe I have to stick with Touk, but at the same time, I'd just like to get Goulden in. I do just like Goulden. I mean, 590k at worst is probably still enough. Like if we, I can get Merritt. I'd probably be just happy to finish with Merritt, to be honest. Even Dunkley, like he's going to be pretty cheap. What other midfielders do we have? So, so Adam Treloar will be there, but he'll be expensive. No, I don't want them to be playing around 15. All right, so there'll be Butters who'll be too expensive, although he's got a huge break even. So unless he has he could have like a 70 this week. That would be pretty cool. Neil. So Neil's going to be too expensive, but then there's Merritt Rao, who even Walsh is actually interesting because they have I was looking at their run home and it's pretty ridiculous. It's like Long's hard, but then Richmond, Dogs, North all seem good. Port Adelaide at Marvel's probably a good matchup. Then Collingwood's good. Hawthorn, West Coast, and St Kilda. Has he played Hawthorn yet? No. So they all seem like pretty good games, although he hasn't really lit it up, has he, old Walshy? So maybe a bit of a break this week will help, but yeah. I mean, Elliot Yeo could be a potential just because of his defender mid status, but I don't love that. Setterfield's injured again. LDU will be too expensive. JHF, that's probably an interesting one, but I really wouldn't want to go there. Yeah, so as far as that goes, it looks like it's just going to be going for Merritt, unless someone like Oliver gets into some form, but he's going to buy this week anyway. But we got some cheap, cheap guys we can look at. Like Connor Rosie is going to be 430 next week as well. I assume he plays this week, and it'd be good to see him back and see how fit he looks. Because if he does look fit, I'd probably be pretty likely to go him just as a cheap option for that last buy, and then we could work off that. So yeah, I don't mind this. I think I'm going to wait to see team sheets, because at the moment, if we look at this team, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, possibly 20, possibly 20. We could possibly have 21 players. which is pretty damn good. And then if we put this to round 15, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Really that bad? 14. This can't be right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Becoming 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Sorry, 16. And then I'll be trading Fraser, McAuliffe, and probably what's his name? Revel. So that would give us 18 at least playing. I mean, we could just bank some cash and then go Revel up the week after as well and just get 2 playing rookies if there are any, but I'm going to suggest there won't be. This kind of means to me that if I want Dowling or Kruger, I'm going to have to do it the next week, which possibly could from Richards. So maybe I just go 2 downgrades that week, bank a bit of cash, then I go Richards down and get like whoever I want in for Revel. That could be a possibility. And just keep Revel playing because that will give us that extra player as well. But there could be like a Garcia trade. I don't know. Like if Fraser comes out and has like 100 this week, or Revel does, or McAuliffe does. Well, if McAuliffe or Fraser do, that makes a big difference to the cash. If they can get to 280 each, they could get to 280 each. 280,000 plus. And then it's like 215, 100 from Garcia, and then 26, 300. Take 1, 2, 3. That would be 553. They're not the best, but if I get the 102k West Coast player, then that would be what, 570-ish. So hopefully the Richmond preseason draftee gets a pick, but we'll wait and see what happens there. Basically, Goulden wouldn't be the worst, but like Touk gives the same thing anyway. Plus, I get to keep some cash. So, I don't know. I'll think about this Goulden one because it could be just trading into something that's just as bad. But I feel like Adelaide's a pretty good opponent to be coming against as well. And his scores have been all right. Like 77, 109, 149. Like, there's not too many real floor games, like 77 in round 0, but like that's the first game back. So anyway, that is my thoughts thus far. If you don't have cash, you're probably just going to have to like downgrade this week and see if you can build something up. But really we are at the end of, coming to the end of upgrade season. So you're going to want to be getting this all done soon. And the quicker you can get it done, the quicker you can get scoring those big scores. So as far as VC captains go this week, let's have a look. Not that you should really listen to me because I'm pretty hard, but for VC, I would think Zorko could be all right coming up against St Kilda, but also the Fremantle boys in Clark, Ryan, and even Sarong could be all right against the Dogs. Bont also has a very good last score against them. I believe he had like 160 last year. No, he had 182 in round 6 last year. So didn't go as well earlier this season, but you never know with that. Hawthorn would be Richmond. So Moore could actually be one you could look at VCing, I guess. Baker, I wouldn't mind. Although, I wouldn't do a VC Baker. He could maybe spark a game, but I think there's better ones out there like Moore or Sarong or Ryan or Clark. What I'd suggest is whoever I VC, just don't VC because I always get it wrong anyway. And then captaining in, you could probably go Dacos against North. Heaney or Goulden or even Grundy against Adelaide are potentials. GWS v Port. If you've got Butters, that's probably all right, but I don't know. I feel like GWS could look at putting some time into him. Callum Ward. And I guess Green maybe is an opportunity, but I'd probably just go with someone in that Adelaide game. If I was you, take the Heaney score or the Golden score, but hopefully I'm able to hit a VC score with Ryan Clark or Zorko. And we don't have to think too hard about that. So that's all from me tonight. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit subscribe. I know this is very based on my team, but I'm happy to answer any questions in the comments. So feel free to leave them. Obviously, it wasn't a great week for the team, but we're only halfway through the buys. I think this could be a good round for us because we don't have guys like Walsh, Petrarca, Oliver, and a lot of teams, even though Petrarca's injured. And we are also flipping Touk as well, so it could get us an extra premium on. Hopefully ranking gets the game and we could see this be even better. So we'll leave it at that. Thanks again. Hit like, hit subscribe, and hopefully I will be seeing you guys in the next one. Cheers.